Hi, I'm JT Stevens. Thank you for joining me. I've been waiting for you. I have a question for you today, and that question is, where are you? You may be answering, I'm right here. I haven't went anywhere, but I'm not talking about where you are physically. I'm not talking about where you are in your education or your career. What I'm talking about is, where are you in your heart? What have you've been procrastinating about? What have you been putting off? What have you started but never finished? Where are you? Let me tell you a story. Now, when I was a little boy, I had big dreams. I was a dreamer. I dreamed about becoming an actor. I dreamed about becoming a race car driver. I dreamed about doing a lot of things as a little kid. But as I got older, I think I suffered from some type of trauma that brought fear and allowed me and caused me to procrastinate about a lot of things in life. And as I got older and as my journey of life moved it forward, it's like, where are you? What have you accomplished? What have you started and completed? Where have you been? And the question even arises, where are you going? Where are you? Sometimes we got to stop and take a look around and figure out where we are in life, where we want to be, how we going to get there, and what it takes to get us there. I know it's all easily said than done. And sometimes I know this journey can be a scary trip. Because sometimes it just feels like things just don't go your way no matter how hard you try. I've been there. No matter what you do, no matter how much time you put in there, seem like things still don't go your way. Sometimes it seems like you be taking 2 steps forward and 3 steps backwards to find yourself in the same situation. I know the feeling. I've been there. I experienced that. But I learned along my journey of life that sometimes we got to stop and pause before we try to move further. I believe that every step of life, every waking day of our life, we're going to be faced with a challenge. We're going to be faced with a problem. And we're going to receive an answer. And each day that we travel this journey, I believe that it's a lesson to be learned. Some lessons are hard lessons. Some lessons are simple lessons. But there's always a lesson to be learned in your everyday life. You may not realize it, but just take a moment each day to stop and analyze why certain things happen in your life, why certain situations arise. And instead of complaining, instead of running, stop and figure it out. You know what's going on? What's happening in my life? Why am I going through this cycle? Why does my life seem like Groundhog Day, where I'm going through the same routine over and over and over again each day? Ask yourself, ask God, Lord, what is the lesson to be learned in my situation right now? What's the lesson that needs to be learned in this bad relationship I'm going through? What's the lesson that is need to be learned in my financial situation? What is the lesson that need to be learned when it concerns my health? Because our journey is a learning experience. And through our journey, we either grow wiser or we grow more foolish in life. But we was all created to evolve and grow wiser and to learn more each day. And I know there's a lot of people that say, well, I'm not educated. I never went to college. I only have a ninth grade education. I dropped out of school in the 8th grade. Yeah, we have those excuses. But there's still lessons to be learned in that journey, no matter where you are in life. We got to stop and figure it out. We got to stop and ask ourselves the question, where are you? Why are you here? What brought you here? What lesson is to be learned where I am right now? What trial do I have to go to reach the next peak or to reach the next chapter of my journey? What hardships I'm going to have to go to? What disappointments I'm going to have to face in order to get to the next phase of my journey? And each experience in our lives should have taught us a little more about ourselves and about what direction we need to go in life. So what I'm saying here is we need to stop listening to the voices in our head and start paying attention to the whispers in our heart. We need to start paying attention to the things that happen around us each day. From the people we see in the distance to the ones we stop and have a brief conversation with. We are always to question ourselves about what is the lesson to be learned in that situation. What is the lesson to be learned in the conversation I had with that stranger today? What is the lesson to be learned in the disagreement I had with my supervisor? What is the lesson to be learned in the disagreement I had with my spouse or my children? We're all on a journey. And each day of our journey, we are taught something different, whether we realize it or not. There's always a test before you can go to the next phase of your journey. So what I want you to do is take a moment and take a deep breath and hold it for 20 seconds. And when you exhale, clear your mind. It's just like breathing everything out that has been blocking you from finding true understanding. And then take the time to write down what you may have learned in your journey throughout the day. stop and think about why the things happen to you in the day that happens, and realize that nothing is by coincidence or chance. It's all a part of this path, this journey in which God has set us on. I'm J.T. Stevens, and I'm just asking.